that is phenylethrone, which had a little bit more toxicity. That's why we had similar drug which was similar to phenylethrone, which was phosphonolithrone. Then we talked about carbamazepine, which is also a little bit toxic, but we found a safer drug, that is oxcarbamazepine. Most of the antiepileptic drugs, they are enzyme inducers, whether it is phenylethrone or whether it is carbamazepine or whether it is phenobarbital. All of them, they induce cytochrome P450, which leads to many drug interactions. But among these antiepileptic drugs, we have one antiepileptic drug which does not cause cytochrome P450 induction. But instead of induction, it causes inhibition of cytochrome P450. And that drug is valproic acid, which we shall be talking about it today. So let us start or continue the same topic with a new drug, that is phenobarbital. Now, phenobarbital, the name itself says that it is a barbiturate. Barbiturates or benzodiazepines, they belong to the category of sedative and hypnotics. Their role is enhancement of GABA activity, either by GABA mimetic or GABA facilitated reaction. And we all know that GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So phenobarbital's mechanism of action is GABA mimetic and GABA facilitatory. Being a barbiturate, it is highly protein bound drug. It has 50% plasma protein binding capacity. Now, we all know that any drug which is highly plasma protein bound will start to behave as an antigen. And behaving as an antigen means your body will try to damage or nullify the antigenic property of that particular drug. So there is going to be an antigen-antibody reaction, or in other words, there is going to be hypersensitivity reaction. On top of that, any drug which is highly plasma protein bound also lead to an adverse drug reaction that is known as hepatitis. So if you remember in this way, you may not have to mug up the things. So being a barbiturate, its mechanism of action is GABA mimetic as well as GABA facilitatory, which means it enhances the GABA activity. It is highly plasma protein bound, means it is going to trigger antigen antibody reaction or hypersensitivity reaction. Highly plasma protein bound drugs are also hepatotoxic at the same time. And just like other antiepileptic drugs, it also causes enzyme induction. So our first drug, which was phenylethrone, our second drug, which was carbamazepine, and our third drug, which is phenobarbital, all of them, they lead to enzyme induction. So if you give any other drug, say warfarin, theophylline, or oral contraceptive pills, then those drugs are going to be less efficacious. So we have very good drug interaction between antiepileptic drugs and other drugs. Like all other antiepileptic drugs, this drug also has CNS toxicity, which means any drug which acts on the brain will definitely produce CNS toxicity like dizziness, drowsiness, headache, blurring of vision, ataxia, and whatever things you can remember, you can add those things. Phenobarbital is used for management of epilepsy, but it is also used for management of febrile convulsions. Means usually a children when it is born, sometimes children because of high fever, at least when that happens, as long as they reach the age of 5 years, they tend to suffer from high fever, which can lead to convulsions. So in that case, phenobarbital can be given. However, I do not mean that phenobarbital is a drug of choice. Generally, we prefer rectal diazepam for such cases, but phenobarbital can be used. Our next drug is benzodiazepine. How simple it is. barbiturate, and now benzodiazepines. Both of them belong to the sedative hypnotic category, means they are going to have similar mechanism of action. But the difference is that barbiturate or phenobarbital was having GABA mimetic as well as GABA facilitatory, whereas benzodiazepine will only have GABA facilitatory action, due to which its adverse effects are comparatively less and more safer than that of barbiturates. Among the benzodiazepines, we have different categories. We have short acting, we have intermediate acting, we have long acting, but we do not prefer to stick with short acting benzodiazepines. We go for a longer acting diazepines like diazepam and lorazepam. And in between diazepam and lorazepam also, we tend to prefer lorazepam more because we can predict the nature of the drug. We know that when will that drug leave the body, whereas we cannot predict the same with diazepam, because when diazepam is metabolized, it is converted to another sedative and hypnotic compound, that is nordiazepam, which is again metabolized to form another metabolite which also has a sedative and hypnotic action, which is oxazepam. So here we find that the compound diazepam is metabolized to other products. So we do not know when will actually the sedative and hypnotic action of that diazepam will go away. So we cannot predict the pharmacokinetic, or we cannot predict the nature of the drug with diazepam. So we prefer lorazepam over diazepam. However, diazepam can also be used. Both diazepam and lorazepam are rapid acting, especially if we give them IV route, and they are also longer acting. Like all antiepileptic drugs, before also we have talked about that all of them tend to produce CNS toxicities, that is again dizziness, drowsiness, headache, behavioral disturbances, ataxia, and so on. But being a barbiturate, being a benzodiazepine, being a sedative and hypnotic, we also know that as we increase the dose of a drug, its toxicity will also increase. So we can have some kind of cardiovascular depression at a higher dose, and even at more toxic dose, we can have respiratory depression, and that applies for both barbiturates as well as benzodiazepines. Here we have another drug named ethosuximide. Now this drug is very different. In fact, it is only drug which has a particular mechanism of action that does not resemble to any other drugs, except for one, that is again valproic acid, which will come to that later on. But the ethosuximide is a drug which is solely dedicated for management of absence seizure, and that also especially in children, because children, their kidneys are not developed, their livers are not developed. So we need a drug which is safer as well as efficacious at the same time. So in case of absence seizure, ethosuximide is preferred. Its mechanism of action is it inhibits the T-type calcium channel in the thalamic neurons. And this drug have much adverse effect drug for management of absence seizure, not all types of seizure, but absence seizure, that also in children. Valproic acid. If there is one drug that you need to remember out of all the drugs, if there is one drug which we might have to ask during the exam, if there is one drug which you should always know, then that is valproic acid. We can forgive you if you don't remember the other drugs, but valproic acid is a must when it comes to antiepileptic section. Not because it is used for management of all types of epilepsy, but it has a mechanism of action which is very wide. and also its adverse effect is also very wide. So this is important from its indication aspect, it is important from mechanism of action aspect, as well as it is important from adverse drug reaction aspect. Talking about the mechanism, just like carbamazepine, it also act on the inactivated sodium channel. It prolongs the duration of inactivated sodium channel. It delays the recovery of inactivated sodium channel. Just like ethosuximide, that the drug neuron, like sedative and hypnotics, phenobarbital and barbiturate, it also has GABA mimetic action, GABA facilitated reaction by increasing the synthesis of GABA and decreasing the degradation of GABA. So here we have a sole drug which has mechanism of action which resembles to that of all types of antiepileptic drugs. It also has a very good pharmacokinetic parameters. It is well absorbed, it has a very good bioavailability, half-life is long, but while other drugs were producing cytochrome P450 induction, it is producing inhibition. Means if you give this drug with other drugs like OCP, warfarin, theophylline, the plasma concentration of those drugs are going to increase. And we all know that when the plasma concentration of drug increases, it leads to more adverse drug reaction. So this is one drug that instead of producing induction of cytochrome P450, it produces inhibition of cytochrome P450. Adverse drug reaction of valproic acid is valproate itself. Starts from V as vomiting, A for anorexia, L for liver toxicity, P for pancreatitis, R for rash, O for orofacial and digital abnormalities, A for alopecia, T for teratogenicity, and E for elevation of liver enzymes. All of them makes valproic acid important from all aspects. But it does not end over there. It also produces curling of hair. So if you want some curly kind of hair design, then you can go for valproic acid. It can also lead to hepatitis. Therefore, it is not preferred in young children. We prefer ethosuximide. And coming to teratogenicity, it leads to a particular type of teratogenic action, that is, it leads to neural tube defect. The name is spina bifida, which is a defect in formation of spinal cord, which is the source for development of the brain also. Therefore, people who develop this defect, they don't live long. So this effect or teratogenic effect is very important from adverse drug reaction point of aspect. Valproic acid, because it has a broad spectrum of mechanism of action, it is used for almost all types of epilepsy, name it generalized, simple, partial, or absence seizure. It is used for all types of epilepsy. Plus, it is also used for bipolar disorder. It is used for management of absence seizure in children above 3 years of age. It is used as a mood stabilizer. It is also used for prophylactic management of migraine. Therefore, it has a wide variety of indications. Although we have so many drugs under anti-epileptic section, which are the older drugs, all of them cannot be used under circumstances, because we have been using those drugs for a long time and we have come across lots of things like they cannot be used during pregnancy, they cannot be used during lactation, this drug has lots of drug interaction, you should not take warfarin, you should not take OCP, and so on and on. Because we have been using those drugs for a long time period of time, we have lots of data. That's why we have newer drugs which can be used during pregnancy also, which can be used during lactation purpose, which can be used if the patient is having lots of comorbidities and has been taking many drugs. So newer antiepileptic drugs are drugs like lamotrigine, topiramate, zonisamide, lacosamide, gabapentin, pregabalin, tigabalin, vigabatrin, and levetiracetam. And among these drugs, the antiepileptic drugs which are important ones are the drugs which have been underlined: lamotrigine, lacosamide, and levetiracetam. All of them starts with M. Coming to lamotrigine, its mechanism of action is similar to that of phenyltoin and carbamazepine. That is, it acts on the inactivated sodium channel. It prevents the recovery of inactivated sodium channel. It prolongs the duration of inactivated sodium channel, whichever way you want to see. This drug has an advantage, that is, it can be given in case of pregnancy. It has less chances of teratogenicity. While there is less toxicity in babies, it has more toxicity in the pregnant women. It can lead to a life-threatening condition known as SJS, or Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is a very fatal type of hypersensitivity reaction. But again, it can be given in case of pregnancy, although it is less efficacious than that of valproic acid and ethosuximide. Lacosamide, the benefit or the advantage of this drug is that it has very good bioavailability. You can even take this drug with food also. Food does not hamper or alter its absorption. Levetiracetam. This drug is free from drug interaction, does not have cytochrome P450 induction or inhibition ability. It is free from drug interaction, so if there is any patient who has epilepsy as well as diabetes, who have liver toxicity or is taking drugs for some other comorbid condition, for them levetiracetam can be a safer choice. In case of pregnancy, generally we say that if a female becomes pregnant, an epileptic female becomes pregnant, then we ask her to continue the same drug. We prefer monotherapy. But if she develops epilepsy after pregnancy, then generally we do not go for valproic acid. Although depending upon the trimester, there is safety concern, and they also say that if you give folic acid, then you can definitely reduce the risk of neural tube defect, which is spina bifida. But because of newer drugs, we have lamotrigine and levetiracetam, which is considered safer during pregnancy. While valproic acid was producing neural tube defect, phenobarbital can produce cardiac defect, and topiramate can lead to oral cleft. Similarly, during breastfeeding also, we prefer drugs which are highly plasma protein bound. Other drugs like primidone, levetiracetam, gabapentin, lamotrigine, topiramate, if their concentration increase in the body, then they can cross and reach the breast milk. Whereas drugs which are highly plasma protein bound like valproate, phenobarbital, phenyltoin, or carbamazepine, they do not cross, they cannot easily reach the breast milk because of highly plasma protein bound pharmacokinetic nature. Now this chart looks very big, but only to those who read it. But basically it is, we know that valproic acid is used for almost all types of epilepsy. So we have, in case of partial seizure, first line is valproate. In case of generalized seizure, primary case, we have valproate. We have in absence seizure, we have valproate or ethosuximide. So basically we have valproate and ethosuximide kicking it in all types of epilepsy. Again, valproate. Now, another condition that is status epilepticus. This is a life-threatening condition. Why this is life-threatening condition? Because while other 2 to 3 minutes, status epilepticus. And here we have a chart of drug interaction. Most of the antiepileptic drugs, whether they are enzyme inducers or they are inhibitor, most commonly drugs they will be interacting with is warfarin, oral contraceptives, and thiopurines. For febrile convulsions, like of children who is recently been born, who has not crossed the age of 5 years, they tend to suffer from convulsion epilepsy because of high grade fever. For them, the drug of choice happens to be rectal diazepam. If the child has been admitted, then we can go for IV diazepam as well. And this is a chart in which we have a list of drugs which have different mechanism of action. And with this, we finish our topic antiepileptic drugs. I shall be sending the PowerPoint to Dinesh. We can collect it from him. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, sir.
Just stay there. I
Thank you, sir.
just don't go offline, okay? I will be downloading your attendance just for a minute. Okay, now you can leave. Thank you.